Previously on Bearded Bible Brothers.
I had a dream that you wanted to shoot an entire series about the Nephilim. And then you dragged me there. I had to go to all these places. Oh, if you would never do that to me, that'd be so messed up.
I would never take you to all the demonic high places around the world to teach our audience about the return of the Nephilim.
We've been here like 7 minutes and almost died like 100 times.
Yes, we're going to Stonehenge, the most iconic megalith structure in the entire world, to set up why it's important that we should tell the story of the Nephilim.
I don't want to be here.
They weren't just meant to be, like gravestones, but they're really places for mystic ceremonies to be performed, ancestor worship. It's kind of hard to imagine that this was, formed from some volcanic activity. After the dispersion of Babel, more giants spread out, and there's so many legends and evidence of giants having come here to Ireland. This is just a magnificent, very strange place.
Yeah, it is.
So according to Irish mythology, the Fomori or Fomorians were a hostile race of giants that covered this land. They were the enemy of the first human settlers of Ireland and the Tuatha Dé Danann. These were the mythological gods or goddesses that were the creators of the first people of Ireland. But these gods and goddesses lived in the other world. It was like their spirit world that the Druids believed in. And early Christian writers understood that this mythology was really a direct comparison to fallen angels, that these gods were really truly fallen angels that lived in the spirit world. You see this war between the gods and the giants compared throughout all history, throughout all mythologies in history, from the Norse mythology to the Greek mythology. And in Greek mythology, you have the Titanomachy and then the Gigantomachy, which is the giant wars. And this plays a key role to the story that we're going to be telling in the Return of the Nephilim series when we go to Greece. But it's always been the case when you read through the Bible that God had to bring judgment on this evil hybrid spawn of the fallen angels and wipe them out. But he also led them to animosity against each other, and giants fought giants. They literally tried to kill each other off.
It's the 300s. Catholicism, not invented yet. Other stuff that you think like four-leaf clovers and all those legends, not a thing yet. What was Ireland known for at this point?
26.
It was known for pagan worship. All the ways you could do it, right? The Megalith, the Cairns, the mounds, any way that you could worship something evil, they did it here. So, welcome.
Do you ever get tired of trekking to demonic high places? I know I do. Maybe I can slink out and grab some more fish and chips when Caleb isn't looking.
Deuteronomy 18, 9 through 11. When you enter the land which the Lord your God gives you, you shall not learn to imitate the detestable things of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, one who uses divination, one who practices witchcraft, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who casts a spell, or a medium, or spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. This is an interesting part of the story. This is the hill of Tara that I'm at right now. The highest place for the Druids for their form of worship. I'm surrounded by Henges, elevated embankments dug in deep. And here is the stone of destiny, Leafal, the speaking stone, the coronation stone, that the Druid kings would come and they would be crowned, coronated at this point. It is even said that if the rightful king would come and place his feet upon the stone would cry out and roar with joy. It would literally speak to the king, give him extended life and power, foreknowledge. And the power around here was supernatural. And that the stone was brought by the mystical gods, the Irish pantheon of gods, Tuatha Dé Danann. And so a lot of ceremony happened here. There's a palace here, there's a kingdom here. This was the seat of all the perverse worship that began with the Druids. The entire complex of Tara, like I mentioned before, used to house a royal palace. 20 monuments are still here, graves, burials. 40 more are said to be buried beneath the ground. Behind me is the infamous Tomb of the Hostages. This site is the most important site, along with Leothal, the Stone of Destiny, in all of Gaelic mythology. It is said that this was the house of the gods, that the head of the Tuatha Dé Danann, Lu, this lord of darkness and the underworld, also of war, was the lord of light, of the sun. It is not an accident that he is linked with Lucifer, the fallen cherub, and therefore it is said that he would reside here and other gods and goddesses throughout time. And we even found sacrificial offerings still left here, apples and other flowers and things from Druids who recently celebrate his high holy day of Samhain.
2 Corinthians 11:14. And no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light.
Now this passage tomb behind me was also known as a fairy mound. And when archaeologists dug throughout it, they found 250 to 500 cremated bodies. Yes, could this be linked with human sacrifices? Obviously, but this site was very sinister. Also carved inside the mound was geometric symbols, interesting shapes. People believe that it was aligned with the celestial heavens, like many passage tombs. In fact, that light would shine through inside this tomb twice a year. One on November 1st, the Feast of Samhain, for Lu, that Lord of Darkness, and once on February 1st for the Feast of Imbolc, which was the arrival of the baby lambs in the spring. So this was a place of high significance for the Druids. Although around Ireland we found these megalith structures, these Nephilim structures, as I credit to, they dated way earlier than when the Celts arrived, and they found them and decided to incorporate them in their pantheon of worship and in their ceremonies and all that. There's so much terrible links with the ceremonies, with perversion, with human sacrifices that the Druids carried out here. It's one of these ceremonies, involved human sacrifice. You've heard of the Wicker Man ceremony. It was literally a giant stick man, like a Nephilim, a literal giant that they would make babies hollow in the center, and they put dozens of men inside. Sometimes they were prisoners, sometimes they were just poor people, anybody they could find, that they would have to sacrifice in order to have someone healed or win a battle. And they would set that wicker man on fire and burn everyone alive. And you see even modern day interpretations of that where people reenact that in a way, not with real humans, but just paying obstinance to the Druid ways. There's still modern Druids today. This religion has carried on. And it's a sad fact that it is linked with demon worship.
Deuteronomy 16:21-22. Do not set up any wooden Asherah poles beside the altar you build to the Lord your God, and do not erect a sacred stone, for these the Lord your God hates.
Want to know what I hate? Want to know? Yeah. I hate being pulled away from my fish and chips. You know why? Because they're more delicious than going to demon mounds. Don't be surprised, all of a sudden, Josh starts, getting a little bit edgy. Don't be surprised, you start hearing some truth bombs from me. Gonna say the truth. Caleb says the truth. I get to say the truth. You're not gonna like the truth when it comes from me. I've tried. My hands are clean. I've tried to be sweet. That ain't gonna happen this time.
Josh, we are not far from Tara. Behind us is the site Newgrange. This is a series of sacred sites around here, along with Noth and Dalf. They are massive man-made burial mounds with passage tomb inside and a cairn on top. These places were so sacred and special to the Druids and those who built them before the Druids that they built them in alignment with
the stars. They were also the site of passages for hunting and ceremonial rites. They were monuments to the gods and goddesses. And it was just an all-around wicked place because they performed lots of magic and astrology and soothsaying and different things here because they were pagans. I mean, what do you expect?
100% know where all the comments are going. Well, all you were thinking, nah, they were just making calendars out of the sky. They were mathematic geniuses. You have no evidence. I have no evidence. Okay, sure. Yeah, you just see a circular mound when you look at it from out here. But let's say you go inside. Then you start seeing inner passageways. Let's say you go down a passageway. Then you find chambers. All right? This is not a chamber you want to go in. You know why? In that chamber, it's not love. It's not hearts. It's not messages from the druids. It's human bones. Burnt, unburnt, it's votive offerings. It's every kind of pagan little thing in there, all set up just so special for their favorite demon. And oh, if it wasn't good enough and they wanted to draw a selfie back then, they had a little porthole above so that the light would shine in on sunrise during the winter solstice and illuminate their sacrifice.
That's pretty...
Not good, guys. Not awesome. Not the person that your kid wants to go pretend to be in your basement when they're putting like fake ears on and playing on the internet and going to Scarborough Fair. Stop with the druids.
Just offended. That's okay. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't a good idea dragging Josh to all these demonic high places. It seems to rub him the wrong way.
I'm gonna rant about it.
Yeah, you tell those
You're at
kids,
home.
boss.
I'm at all the demon mounds. Yeah, come visit. Tell me how awesome it is. It's not awesome. Next thing he's gonna take me to Abomination of Desolation. You know how I feel about that. This is not the way that I wanted to start off our trip before filming Return of the Nephilim. Couldn't we have done something nice? I don't know, interim episodes like Jesus feeds the 5,000. There's fish there. There's not chips, but there's fish. Fish is delicious. How about the prodigal son's father? He kills the fatted calf. I get to eat on that one too. I love fatted calf. It's so good. Or better yet, maybe God provides the Israelites with sweet, sweet manna and quail from heaven. I'm getting hungry here. I do not want demon mounds. It's not going to go okay for us.
See how generous I am, Josh? I brought us to another burial mound. It's so big.
Bring me to lunch. Bring me to lunch and I'll love you forever. Burial mounds? I'm good.
This particular one, man-made, even though it looks like a normal hill, it is not. Doth, meaning darkness. This burial mound was built well before Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza. It's said to have been built by giants, Josh. And inside there are geometric shapes, markings that they call prehistoric, or way going back to the time before when there's cavemen, they claim, who built this along with the giants. And it's interesting that a similar cairn or passage tomb nearby named Noth is well more famous, has a ring of standing stones that surround the mound. And it's a high holy place just like this site. And on the outside you see white quartz that surrounds it. Very striking, this glowing, symmetry and look to it, just like all these circular mounds and standing stones. But these high places were obsessed with astrological alignment with the heavens, and all those geometric shapes that were linked to demonic activity, as we may know. This is one that we're allowed to go to, not as well known, not as famous, but I say we go check it out.
What is wrong with all y'all? You didn't get hugged enough? You didn't like the felt board in Sunday school? You said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna build a high place. I'm gonna get an ancient burial ground built up here so that all those guys with the demons can, what, you just couldn't do something normal? You need to get hugged more. Let Jesus hug you. This is not okay.
Does anybody have a protein bar, peanut butter crackers, a breath mint? We have to boost Josh's blood sugar fast.
For all he talks smack about me getting into places I shouldn't be, if he's in one of these demon holes, I'm done. You don't go in a demon hole, especially a demon burial hole. It just doesn't make any sense. Unless God comes down and says, get in a demon burial hole, but if he was in the demon burial hole. Of course he was in the demon burial hole.
It's interesting, this passage tomb, this burial mound, that's one entrance into Doth. There's another one over here. New Agers recognize that these places are sources of power. Like Stonehenge, they believed for years that it was a source of magnetic energy. They called them healing stones.
And it's really crazy that these areas, many New Agers believe, lie upon ley lines. They've been saying this for years, that there are invisible magnetic highways of energy that surround the earth and that separate the earth's energies, and that they have points of intersection, Josh, such as the pyramids of Giza, Nazca lines in Peru, even here at Newgrange, Dolph, and Knopf, and of course, the infamous Stonehenge.
Yeah, that makes it confusing, because that means sometimes Satan tells the truth. We got these passageways, these connections across the world with magnetic transmission, blah, 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 the things you just said. Well, then that means that that's like an interconnected highway for demons to just travel through. And then for them to get in the real world, then men would have to somehow open that by doing something dumb, like going to the local Walmart and buying a Ouija board and saying, hey, come into my bedroom tonight and stay with me forever.
Yeah.
That's what they do?
Yeah, even more extreme than that, they would even have human sacrifices, perform blood oaths on these territorial sites. You know, all these areas were always aligned as geometric shapes. This is a massive hinge that surrounds us in a big circle. Here's another entrance to a second passage tomb. Down here, it goes pretty deep. They even had designs drawn on the walls of geometric shapes there. Satan goes through a lot of trouble to make these advanced ceremonies with these oaths and blood spilled and incantations and geometric shapes like the pentagram to open literal spiritual gateways, portholes into the second heaven, the spirit world, allowing and summoning these evil spirits into our realm, inviting them to habitate with us or even possess their bodies. That's literally the gateway. It's the gateway for demonic possession, demonic oppression. That's how they honored their gods in the past at places like this. And God warned against doing that. He said, this isn't right, but yet they still did it. And they literally did it at the same time that the Canaanites were residing in Canaan, doing the same gnarly stuff, mixing with giant races and Nephilim and all those perverse things.
Public service announcement. If you are opening up portals for demons because you think you're wielding them and getting superpowers, you are a moron and will face a bitter end if Jesus doesn't help you when you submit your life to him.
True. Only you can prevent forest fires.
No, demon portals.
Demon portals, yeah.
Only you can prevent demon portals. Idiots.
Only you can prevent demon fires.
Psalm 24, 1-3. The earth is the Lord's and all of its fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters. Who may ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who may stand in his holy place?
Ireland, the Celts, the Druids, they had a profound influence in Roman society. You see when Rome declares that Christianity is the official religion, which everybody thought was good, except it doesn't work that way. You see that there is this influence that they have from the Celts and the Druids and their pagan practices. So you see this veneration of the gods of the Druids and the Celts and of the Roman Empire, and it kind of goes like this, right? And then a little bit like this, okay? And then like this, and then it still influences the Catholic Church today. You see it in the Roman Catholic Church. You see these practices and whatnot, and you wonder, how is it that they ever went from what the Bible says right over here to these? It stems all the way back to the influence that happened back in that time period.
Case in point, Josh, is this festival that they worshiped, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, All Souls Day, which is venerated in the Catholic Church. That was originally a Druid pagan festival, this festival of the dead. They believed on that night of All Hallows Eve that those burial mounds that we visited, the graves are open. Those were gateways or passages between the other world, the spirit world, where the dead were, and our world. And they would have to light bonfires on hills like this to call the dead safely back to get away from demons and stuff on that night. It's really, they were just celebrating those demons and they really didn't know it.
This is gonna make people mad, but I gotta say it. For some reason, humans will do anything for a free t-shirt or free candy. And the devil has just taken advantage of that's why we all have credit cards and we celebrate Halloween. If it wasn't for free candy and free t-shirts, we'd have no debt, right? Kids without diabetes, it'd be fantastic.
Yes, Josh, on this festival day, they would even leave out food for the spirits of the dead. You do not dine with disembodied spirits. They are just spirits of the Nephilim. In the New Testament, they're called evil spirits, but that's exactly what they are. And this festival of Halloween, or Samhain as it was literally a manifestation of the Druids trying to control them through fear. They believed you had to dress up in costumes, you know, to scare away the evil spirits, to ward them off. Are you really going to scare away an evil spirit by dressing like him?
Oh, yes.
I don't think it works, but you know, that's where the origins of Halloween came
If
from.
I was an evil spirit, and as an evil spirit I was a bikini, and then Josh dressed up in that bikini, I'd scare that evil spirit.
I agree.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna offend all of you. It's gonna offend all of you.
I've created a monster. He's just like me. Speaking the truth without reservation, this is gonna cost us.
And you should be offended. Some people say that trick-or-treat originated from Druid priests, going door to door, demanding a human sacrifice, and if they did not give them a human sacrifice, then they would mark their door with a hexagram, in return later, burn the house down, or demand something of much higher of a price. I know what you're saying. We get together with Christian children. We go door to door and collect bags of corn syrup, and it's memories of family time that make my kids makes our family closer. I don't care what you think. It's stupid. You're feeding your kids candy and dressing up on Halloween and doing it to, no. Do something Jesus-y. Go have a worship service door to door. Big problem there? Collect Wheaties. What's your big deal?
Josh was right about the whole human sacrifices thing by the Druids on All Hallows Eve. The victims that were collected were tied up and dragged behind wagons until all the village had their collection of sacrificial offerings, if you will. They then built a bonfire or bonfire in which they were going to sacrifice these participants, but first they would offer them a possible way out of bobbing for apples and boiling oil. If they get it out, hey, they would get their freedom. That's where bobbing for apples came from. It's really gnarly.
Eliminating every fall festival idea that exists because it's all evil. All this was done to honor Lou. Who's this gentleman? He's the Lord of Death. That sounds like a great idea. Why don't I worship the Lord of Death? You know who the Lord of Death is? It's Satan. But who's God? God is the God of life. He brings you life, and Jesus died to defeat the Lord of Death and to give us eternal life. So how does it make any sense for anyone to honor death? You know what other religion honors death? Rhymes with Bislam. Yeah, that's where all the good stuff happens for them after they die.
This is an amazing episode where you make everybody mad instead of me.
What are you gonna do? You can say no to me. Say it to God. Do it. Yeah, I'm not him. Get mad at me. Leave me in comments. Say it to God. See what happens.
Hebrews 2:14 through 15. Since the children have flesh and blood, he too shared in their humanity, so that by his death he might break the power of him who holds the power of death, that is, the devil, and free those who all their lives were held in slavery by their fear of death.
Oh, man. Oh, that's good. Oh, finally fish and chips. I wasn't going to make it. I'm telling you, I was not going to make it.
Sorry about the late lunch, Josh. Next time, we're packing protein bars.
You're not sorry. Protein bars will never replace fish and chips. But now that we get all this spooky stuff out of the way, the Return of the Nephilim series is going to be way easier, right? I mean, we've already seen all the mounds. There's no more high places, Megalith, anything like Satan run that we could go to. We've seen it all.
Yeah.
How do you find more? How do you create? I'm going to regret every second of this.
Nephilim. This Hebrew word is sometimes interchanged for giants, but more directly it means the fallen ones, from the Hebrew root naphal, to fall, or to fall a violent death. It's no coincidence that the first image a Christian associates with these fallen ones is with fallen angels.
Enoch, this guy, he's the first person to ever receive a prophecy of the second coming of Armageddon.
That would be the Temple of Hercules.
Hercules?
The Hercules.
Hercules.
Like that Temple of Hercules?
Blood has always been sacred to God. These demon hybrids had an insatiable lust of thirst for it.
Not only do I believe that he's going to clash with those B'nai Elohim when they're unleashed from their prison at the river Euphrates,
Zeus then sounds a lot to me like Satan. I'm gonna climb to the top of the mountain and get the guy in charge out of there.
Trace the history of the Nephilim from past to present in order to better understand the prophetic implications of what is to come when we uncover the mystery of the return of the Nephilim.
to the shock of no one, most world governments have turned against Israel. But unfortunately, so have many church congregations. Very few ministries are supporting the Jewish people or teaching the truth about Israel in God's covenant plans.
In fact, if you scroll through social media, you'll see feed after feed of churches teaching that the Jewish people are not God's chosen people and not the fulfillment of a covenant. At Soul 11 Ministries, we've been preaching the same message for 47 years. Why? Because God's message does not change. The Jewish people are His chosen people, but He also made a way for the Gentile to be grafted in. Consider donating to this ministry to be a part today of getting this message out. You can call 1-800-WONDERS, or you can click on the link below at levitt.com.
Did you know the Bearded Bible Brothers is an outreach of Soul 11 Ministries? That means we are entirely donor funded. Consider giving at levitt.com. You can also join the Bearded Bible Bonanza to access additional content at patreon.com/Bearded Bible Bonanza. Please support our mission to spread the gospel of Yeshua by subscribing to our social media and sharing our online messages. And as always, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.